Hello and welcome to Sam's Tarot. This is the 31 Days of Tarot, day number 29. The top almost five undervalued, underestimated decks that we have. And I got five decks here to share with you today. But first off, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to each and every one of you, especially my subscribers right now. When I started this channel, I really kind of made a push for the 31 days here to present some content, get my name out there, be part of the community, and it's blown me away to responses. At the time of this video, I'm up to 60 subscribers, and we might all look back one day and go, "Oh, only 60," but these 60 have been incredible. So thank you, one and all. Been meeting some great people online here in the YouTube community and the Tarot community. Y'all know who you are. Thank you so much. So with that, let's get into. Actually, I'm sorry. My other disclaimer I need to make: the 31 Days of Tarot is started by Ethany, and a link to her YouTube video as well as her Facebook group, the Tarot Readers Academy on Facebook, is all in the description below. So please make sure that you check her out. She puts out this 31 prompts every year, and then that allows those of us in the community to go ahead and respond to her. This being my first year, and I gotta say, if you have been thinking about doing this, don't hesitate. Please do it. It is so worth it. So anyway, on to my selections, and the first one is actually a newer deck. It's actually one that I got during the Christmas holidays here, and it is. And when I first saw it, I was like, this is a beautiful collector's deck. I don't know what use I really might have other than collection, but the more I've been looking at it, the more I realize I really think this is a good tarot deck, and I want to use it more. And it is the Enchanted Toro, and it is just beautiful, classic art style. Well, what I consider more classical art style. And just some beautiful imagery. And my couple card pulls that I've used off it so far seem fairly good for intuitive reading, as well as traditional meaning. Here's the back of the cards. And this is an older deck, so definitely want to be careful with it. But this an undervalued deck that utilized deck that again I was almost dismissive of it, but the more I've looked at over the last month, the more I realized it really does have a lot of good symbology and very precise and good intuitive understanding. So that is deck one. Deck two is in this box. I had someone thought it was a great idea just to kind of double down. I take old phone boxes from like Samsung Galaxy and Galaxy Notes, and my limited experience in crafts, I just take some craft paper and wrap it around and glue it in. Simple as that. This next deck is to Paulina Toro, Paulina Cassidy, and she's got a few different decks out there. Started to say disc for some reason. She's got a few different decks out there, and like I believe she's got Line Strider, I think is hers, and there's a couple others I'm positive, but I'm blanking the name of. And she has a very distinct art style that I absolutely love her style. Here's the back of the cards on these ones. But it's a very fantasy. I find it to be kind of a fantasy-driven art style. Lots of vibrant use of color, pastels. Some great symbology behind the cards, and it's a deck I have not been working with much, and haven't worked with much, but it is good, strong readings. Definitely RWS influenced. but it's definitely a deck that I would categorize as, at least for me, as being having been undervalued, and one that I intend to rectify. Now is the Paulina deck. Next up is the Millennial Pop Deck. This is also a relatively new deck. The artist also did the Arcanum Tarot deck and the Thelema Tarot deck, which has nothing to do with Aleister Crowley's Thelema or the OTO's Thelema. And at first, I was not overly impressed with the artwork. I don't know, the photorealism kind of collage way of this just didn't really tickle my fancy at first. But the more I'm kind of playing around with this deck and looking into it, the more I'm really kind of liking it. Obviously, Toth inspired. And one day I might actually do a side-by-side flip through. All the elements that you see in the traditional Toth deck, you do see in this deck. I think there's a couple exceptions to that. I believe the Death card was one of them. But I find it to be just a really fun deck at this point. But it's also one I've been undervalued because, I'm being traditionalist like my Toth deck. But again, all this is an example. There's the Death card here, and that does not resemble the Death card in the traditional Toth deck. But anyway, there's nothing wrong with new symbolism, and it took me a little bit to kind of get around and used to it. And this is a deck I actually plan on utilizing more, but up until this point has been, again, the whole theme of this video is being undervalued. That was the Toth Millennial deck. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome you to hit that thumbs up like button down below. If you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe. There's a little bell icon next to the subscribe button that will notify you and let you know when I have a new video up. The next deck is and I'm really bad at pronunciation, as you know, the Tarot de la Nuit, translated very simply into Tarot of the Night. And I got this deck and the Dark Fairy Tale right about the same time. And unfortunately, fortunately, however you want to put it, I played a little bit more attention to the Dark Fairy Tale than I did this deck. But this deck, the artwork is very, very beautiful. It's very gothic, kind of darker themed. There is definitely a vampire and dark ritualist kind of and dark fairy imagery to the cards and feeling of it. But the artwork, look at that. To me, I find this very attractive and beautiful, even though I keep on saying I'm not a big fan of Gothic art style, but a couple of my decks here are going very heavily into the Gothic themes. And so I guess I can't say that anymore. I guess I need to start saying I kind of like the darker Gothic imagery. Is that upside down? Oh, it does, the Hangman. But this is the Tarot of the Night. Another undervalued deck. And I don't know if it's so much undervalued as I got swept up more in the Dark Fairy Tale at the time of purchase with these two. So this one has been kind of sitting on the back burner for a while, but definitely needs to come back out into the light. Pardon the wordplay there. And the last one on my list is one that my wife got me. And what can I say? I actually really like it. It's called the Santa Marete Tarot deck. And This one is just phenomenal. I haven't used it all that much, but I know from the reviews that I've seen online here and reports that it's a very strong Tarot deck. Um, that it is, um, and I am flipping these all sorts of wrong. What's going on here? That the symbolism is definitely there, of course, but it's a strong reader when everything is saying. I got to say, on the few times I've drawn from this, it definitely hits nails on the head. And the artwork is definitely different. It's a lot of sugar skulls, Santa Muerte imagery, death imagery, etc. But not in a gory way, not in a horrific way, but in a very much it's just another aspect of life. You know, death is just that, another aspect to life. And it doesn't glorify it. It doesn't try to make a horror statement out of it. It simply is. And I find that this deck is, in a way, that's going to be a mess to clean up. 52 card pickup, anyone? 78. But anyway, that I forgot where I was going with what I was saying, but I find the imagery almost comforting. And again, it is a great reader. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye for now. I appreciate everyone being here. I got a lot of cards I got to pick up now. Also, just to let you know that I do intend on having more content coming out. It might only be anywhere from a couple videos a month to a video a week. I haven't quite decided that yet and planning that all out, to be honest with you, but I will be putting out more for content for sure. And you can also join me over on my Facebook group, Sam Stroh Facebook group. And it's also, that link is also down below in the description, as well as my Instagram account. I'm not a daily poster on that either, but you know, when I say stuff, I say stuff. What can I say? Thank you again for joining. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye.